This leads your bulletin. The case against convicted killer Rosemary Ndlovu and her co-accused Nomsa Mudau has been postponed to September. Now, Ndlovu and Mudau appeared in the Kempton Park Regional Court on charges of attempted murder. They're accused of plotting to kill Mudau's ex-husband, Justice Mudau. Newzroom Afrika's Veronica Makhoali is tracking that story for us, and she joins us now live. Veronica, good afternoon. Give us an update.
Well, Michelle, essentially we had another witness take the stand in this case, and this was Jabulani Mudau. This is the second out of 3 hitmen that were roped in by Nomsa Mudau to essentially carry out a hit on her husband. We heard essentially from Jabulani what would be a timeline, a sequence of events of what led to her meeting Nomsa, and then, of course, subsequently them warning Nomsa's husband about the orchestrated hit. Jabulani really also speaking about how they met Nomsa, saying that Nomsa had called them, saying that they got their number from Rosemary Ndlovu and that they essentially met up and had a meeting. Some of the key, findings essentially from what was coming out today, we heard how Nomsa instructed Jabulani as well as the 2 other hitmen to, of course, carry out this hit on their husband. She went as far as directing them to their home, telling them the car that he drove and also the opportune moment that would be best in terms of carrying out this hit. He also then, of course, mentioned the price tag that she would put on her husband's head, which was about 75,000 rand. In fact, while Jabulani was giving his testimony, the prosecutor, Rihanna Williams, asked why Nomsa Mudau essentially wanted to see her husband dead. And Jabulani, of course, said that Nomsa responded to them during this meeting that she felt as though her husband was cheating on her and that he visited taverns and would come home at very late hours of the night, and that he wouldn't eat the food that she made. And this was the reason that Nomsa Mudau essentially gave these hitmen for why she wanted to carry out and orchestrate this hit on their lives. And of course, Michelle would know that this didn't materialize because Jabulani, as he was telling the Kempton Park Regional Court today, that they essentially set a trap and told someone to warn the husband about what was being, planned for his life. And that is what has led us here today. Now, the case has been postponed as the representatives for Ndlovu and Mudau were about to cross-examine the witness, and they're saying essentially that they need to get a hold of some cell phone records and able to somewhat interrogate the communication between Rosemary as well as Nomsa and the witnesses. We also know that another witness will be roped in when the case, of course, comes back to court on the 18th of September.
Veronica, just give us a timeline of Rosemary Ndlovu and her conviction and when this murder was plotted. I mean, was she already in prison or was it before her conviction?
So this was essentially plotted before Rosemary was sent to prison and, of course, facing that and serving those 6 life sentences for killing her lover and 5 of her family members, 5 of her relatives. You'd understand that I believe the connection between Nomsa and Rosemary is that they were colleagues. They served as police officers together. And what had happened essentially was that Rosemary, known to be carrying out and convicted for these hits that she was putting on her loved ones and several family members, somewhat, what we heard from Jabulani as well, the witness, saying that he was somewhat influenced by Rosemary. Nomsa was influenced by Rosemary to give them a call and to order this hit on her husband. And essentially she stands now accused of a fresh charge, which is conspiracy to commit murder and, of course, charges of attempted murder. And this would also add to that very lengthy conviction that she already has.
And the person who's been testifying today, Veronica, has turned state witness. Is that a correct assumption to make?
That is correct, Michelle. Jabulani Mudau has turned into a state witness, and so has the other 2 alleged hitmen in this case, in Jabula Kunene, as well as a gentleman called Lakiwe Mkize. We haven't yet heard from Lakiwe Mkize, but he is expected to return back at this court when it resumes. And he is obviously as well one of the key figures in this case in terms of the fact that these were the 3 hitmen that felt that they needed to warn Nomsa's husband about what was transpiring. And it was also quite interesting to hear from Jabulani as well, saying that they had sensed that this woman was carrying out this hit because they got the number from Rosemary, and that they felt that they somewhat wanted not to be involved. They tried first to alert the police officer, the investigating officer involved in Rosemary's case, but he was allegedly quite busy, and so they felt that they had to approach the husband themselves. And really, Michelle, what this is also just telling is the story of how wide and how vast, and essentially how some might say quite grim this plan was to be carried out.